I'm Jason Crazy Bear. Welcome to the Jason Crazy Bear Show. And I just want to jump right in because I was blessed enough to have my elder and friend, Mr. John Blackfeather Jeffries, come back and join us. And the last time we were here together, the time just rolled by. So what was discovered on the last show was that he has been of service to his country, of service to the young people through his Boy Scouts. And I really want to talk about his service to his community through his powwows and his crafts and his traditions. So welcome again, man. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
brother.
much for
Thank
joining
you.
me twice.
Beautiful day outside.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
Yeah.
We left on talking about Lynette, and I want you to be able to finish that story because it's our Women Nation is such a powerful
Yep.
part of what we're able to do
Yep.
when we do
Uh-huh.
service and all the things that we do. We couldn't do it without them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. She was my backbone.
Yeah.
She really supported me, and a lot of times I didn't want to do things that she insisted that I do. Like the time I was also as a representative community. I've been a Mason. I'm a 32nd degree Mason also. I joined the Masonic Lodge back in the 80s. And she was very supportive of me there. But as time went on, I kind of went away from the masonry. But I'm still on I said tribal role, the Masonic role. But she was backbone. She was the backbone of a lot of this stuff. A lot of times I didn't want to do something. She said, "Look, Jeff," she said, "how your people gonna survive if you don't do it?"
Right.
Yeah. How my people's gonna survive if you don't do it? How your children gonna survive if you don't do it? So it's not for you. It's like I tell people, I can sit in my shed all day long, sit around my house and do my crafts and stand to the culture and die out there. But what I'm trying to do right now, and she encouraged me, is trying to get some of my work in museums and things, in which I'm slowly doing for other people to see,
Right.
not for it to sit in some barn and deteriorate.
Right.
But as she right now, she's in a rest home. She has dementia, and she still supports me.
Yeah.
And I told her I was coming over here today, and so she looked up and she said, "Well, you be careful." I said, "Okay, baby, I will." But she's been my backbone for 51 years.
Wonderful. So
51
she was
years.
definitely there in the '80s when you started powwow.
Yep. And she became the matron. People know Lynette that don't know me, you know. And she's been on the powwow circuit, and she's always known. And for the last 4 years, as she was in her stage of dementia, going into dementia in the early time, I'd go to a powwow, I'd MC a powwow, and the ladies, "John, you don't have to worry about her or nothing. They so private, but whatever she had to do, they fed her and so forth." And then after that, we'd go out and eat, go back to the motel. And next morning, they'd pick her up,
Right.
do it again. The tribal women, yeah, she was considered as a matriarch of the powwow circle, down in this area anyway.
Right. And so, how many years have you been emceeing the powwows down in this area?
Whew, Lord.
Because I imagine there's a part of the community that don't even know we do it out there in Mevino.
Oh, in Chapel Hill, they know our
They know
powwow.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know our powwow is going on. I've been emceeing since about the late 80s,
Okay.
in the 90s, early 90s.
It's
Because-
moved around a little bit.
Yeah,
too,
moved around. We were building that village down there too, and so I was pretty well known in the area about what I was doing and why I was doing it.
So tell us about that village, because that's kind of what I wanted to.
That village was occupied in the 1600s by Occaneechees that relocated here after the rebellion of 1676 up in Virginia. Is now Clarksville, Virginia, but it was called Baker's Rebellion. And against the wishes of Governor Spotswood and Governor Berkeley, both of them were Governor, Lieutenant Governor, who was trading with the Occaneechees. It was actually kind of underhanded, getting stuff from the Occaneechi, stealing from them.
Right.
But Bacon was interested in the wealth of the Occaneechi. So when the Susquehanna Indians were trading with the Occaneechi, they came from up north. And so one of them was killed, and a couple of them were killed for killing some settlers on Occaneechi land. And so the governors wanted to punish them, but Rashishi, who was the chief of the Occaneechi, and Pericles was the war chief. So Rashishi told them, said, you know, we're going to take care of it. So they did. They killed a couple of Occaneechis, a couple of Susquehannas to balance it out. And
So they did their own justice
did their own
inside
justice.
so that they wouldn't be killed by the
So
settlers.
what Bacon did was he stirred up the Susquehanna and said, you know, Occaneechis kill your people. And so Bacon and the Susquehanna, they'd already planned it. They attacked the village in early May 1676. After they were having a big hoedown there in the village, it was full of rum, you know, and the white,
Liquid courage.
yeah, liquid courage. And so they attacked the village from both sides of the river and broke the strength of the Occaneechi. Well, some of the Occaneechis were captured by Six Nations and carried to the Iroquois Confederacy and absorbed into the tribe. A lot of them went back into Ohio, where they came from, back in the Ohio River Valley. And so some of them escaped and came down to Hillsborough. And there they built this village on the Eno River. It was a small village. It held about maybe 50 or 75 Occaneechis. But once they got that village established, John Lawson came through there in 1701 and found the Occaneechi, stayed with them for a while, and then they continued on down to become wards of the Tuscarora. Tuscarora killed them down there in Bath. That's what history says, but Tuscarora's got another account of the way he was killed. But anyway, after 1701, the Occaneechis, they hunted in the area, which is now Burlington, and hunted in Durham, Raleigh probably, and down in Chatham County, for those counties, before they counties, and I don't know what the dates were there, but that was their hunting areas.
So how was the village over there in Hillsborough rediscovered?
Back in actually, they found remnants in 1938 down on the Eno River in a place called Oxbow. They found some pottery shards, but they couldn't find anything else, so they let it go. So research labs in Chapel Hill decided they were going to excavate it again. So in the 80s they did, mid 80s they did, and that's when I found out about it, and I went down to the excavation, and I saw what they were doing, and they unearthed, down the river, they unearthed remains of our people, and they had laid out, once they finished, called a Frederick site, because the Fredericks owned that land down there at that time. So when they found it, and they gridded it out on a piece of paper, I got a copy of it, and I told Steve Davis, Dr. Steve Davis, and Dr. Trevick Ward, with the archaeologists there. I told them, I said, I sure would like to see this reconstructed. They looked at me and laughed and said, good luck. And so there again, I sat in on a couple of meetings with the county down there, and they were planning on doing a park.
They just gonna build over it?
Well, no, this is on private land. They can't build there. That down there was entrusted to the research labs in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
Because they excavated down there again this year.
Okay.
But anyway, on another site. But anyway, up behind what we call the new courthouse, that's where we did a powwow. And prior to that, I went to the county commissioners and wanted to do a powwow in Hillsborough. And I met with them, and I had a map of North Carolina, borderline Virginia, South Carolina. And on that map, everywhere I performed, I went, I put a red dot. And the map had the counties on it.
Right.
So I told him, I said, I'd like to do a powwow here in our hometown of Hillsboro. I said, I gave you a map. Everywhere your hometown lad has been, I shoot a bow and arrow. Every red dot, I go shoot a bow and arrow. I said, wherever that bow and arrow shot is at a powwow. I said, that powwow brings in thousands of people. I said, you see this one in Durham? I said, it's Durham Tech. There's one in Chapel Hill. I said, it's Carolina Indian Circle. And then I said, you see those? All, and I said, see the ones in Virginia, South Carolina. And so one of them asked me, well, what would that do for the town of Hillsboro? I said, number one, I said, for me, it would bring in education for the people to know where Indian people were. I said, for the town, it's economic development. I said, also, it's a tourist attraction. And so they told me, they said, well, okay, we'll approve it. So they approved it. I said, go ahead.
Won them over.
Go ahead. But now I didn't have no money to do anything, so I got some grassroots grants
Right.
from different organizations in Hillsboro. So we put on the first one down there in Hillsboro. Now we've been putting these powwows on in Mebane, up in what you call the Oaks community. And so the 90s is when I first put the powwows on in Hillsboro.
And at what time did they give you permission to actually rebuild the Frederick site?
That came in 93 or 94 because we started to setting the pole. No, we started digging, getting the ground ready in 96. And it was a hole in the back of, it was a place where they dug dirt to build that incline, a bridge to go across the river.
Right.
That happened in the 60s. That's when they
That wall?
removed the dirt. No, it's the actual bridge going in Hillsboro. So they did in the 60s because we married in 64, and that bridge wasn't there.
Right.
And so they gave me the go in about 94. We'd already done a powwow in Hillsboro.
Right.
And so we started in 96 filling the bog. And in 1997, the last pole was set. And from 97 on, we got that village up in about a year and a half.
And you got a lot of help, right? Outside help?
Well, I had some students I they put it on the internet, but I had students from two Wesleyan universities up in Maryland and on up, and Virginia Tech helped me out quite a bit. And I had help from Carolina, some from A&T. They'd come down, you know.
Volunteer?
Yeah, volunteer. They found out what was going on, wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And Emerson Waldorf School helped us a lot because that's where I got a lot of the cedars.
Yeah.
I cut 360 out of 400 poles. Both my knees were bad. And in 99, I had my left knee done. 2000, I had my right knee done. 2001, my left hip. 2006, my right hip. And while I was having those joints done, I was down in that village.
Setting poles.
Setting poles and doing programs. We did a powwow at Federal Prison up at Butner, 2 of them. And then we did another one down at Women's Prison for the prison inmates there.
Yeah.
But it's been something else. It's been a nice time. But
you were telling me once those poles were set that several different people came to witness it and bless it up?
Yeah, well, these were the monks from Tibet. They were laying out this sand painting over here at UNC. And they had heard about this village. So I was at a powwow, and Joe Lopez, the guy that really helped me with that village, Joe was a steady worker with me all the time. Joe was Blackfoot and Crow, and he wanted to see it up too. But he's got the sheet there. We call it our visitor sheet.
Yeah.
He's got it. Some of the monks signature to it, but they laid their hands on 400 poles around there and blessed 400 poles. So he's got this documentation. I got to get it from him.
Nice.
But people have been there from, in my guest book, as a yellow dot with red around it, that's for foreigners. We had one Jeffries family from Wales to come over to meet us at
Oh,
one of our
really?
powwows. Yeah, they came over, and we've had people there from all over the world.
Nice. Nice. So your arrow making and your craft making, is that something that you were taught or you taught yourself?
Well, I've seen it done. Nobody else sat down and taught me how to do it. I've seen it done, and a lot of it is trial and error. And I made my stone axes from rocks I got out of the river. Well, I broke 3 stone axes cutting a tree down there to put the village in. And what we did was burning these poles like they would have done in the old days.
Right.
Burn them, and when they burned them in too, they used them, whatever they wanted. And I spoke with Steve Davis when he was down there. I said, Steve, these charcoal in these palisade holes, I said, I think they may want to burn those poles in too when they got one too big or too long. He said, John, it could have happened. We don't know, but that's charcoal in those holes.
Right.
And so this village, when you look at the pictures, you'll see the poles are charred at the top. Well, it didn't burn all of them. Had to have some chainsaw help in there.
Right.
Guy walked up one and said, John, the Indians used chainsaws. If they would have
If
used
they
them.
had, they would have used them.
And there probably been a lot less trees. But anyway, I did 4 poles like that to see how hard it would have been for our people to do it.
Right.
And so I got one of them that survived, and I use it now. And it's charcoal all over that thing. Wow.
Yeah.
Knocked away the charred parts. But it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
That was one of my life's ambition was to redo that village.
Right.
And then when we took it down, everybody was asking about it. And then they put up the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
The Riverwalk's real nice. That Riverwalk is part up from the mountain to the sea. Comes right through Hillsboro. Well, now the Occoneechee Trading Pass comes right through Hillsboro, goes to Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
It comes from Occoneechee.
To the Creek territory?
Huh?
Or Georgia?
Yeah,
Georgia?
all the way down.
Yeah.
And see, the tribes from Albany, New York would come down. And they travel, come down to Fort Henry, which was Petersburg, Virginia at that time.
Right.
From Fort Henry, they visited the Occoneechee village there in Clarksville. And from there, the trading pass come right through Hillsboro, right through where the village was. Right across the river on down.
So well, you were saying something about actually getting together soon and redeveloping that site?
Yeah, the county has, since the Riverwalk is there, and it would be an outstanding thing for Hillsboro.
So they'd be able to see it from the Riverwalk.
They'll be walked right through it.
Right.
And the huts will be up, and at times it's hopeful we'll have reenactment like we did back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Had natives coming from everywhere down there, set up the trade, and do what they want to do.
Bring the young people to see
Yeah,
it. Huh?
I was making arrows. I had one fella napping arrowheads. One guy was making a bow, and I'd make an arrow and hand it to him. They'd shoot it. Had one guy doing pottery, one guy doing gourd work, one guy doing bead work. These Indians came from Florida, Virginia, all over North Carolina. Tribes from North Carolina was there, and Maryland. We had Chief Rudy Hall from the Alcoholics. They would come down to sleep in the lodges, and people would come in and start on Friday.
And go on the whole weekend?
People would come down Thursday. We'd be sitting in there Thursday talking, and just kicking back, doing a 49er.
Right.
And the people would come down, and they would stay there sometime till 12, 1 o'clock. And then next morning, bright and early, they'd have the cook fire going out there.
Yeah.
Susie Gingras and Beverly, one of my friends from up near Cherokee would come down. And then Beverly, one of our tribal members, they'll be in there cooking early morning before the sun came up.
Right.
And man, I tell you, they'll be cooking, and we had a fire pit set up you wouldn't believe. All kinds of meat on there.
What?
Yes, sir. And it was no metal used in the preparation of this.
No, it was all traditional.
Everything was bone and
tools,
stone, traditional, yeah.
Traditional tools.
Yep. Turtle shells in there, and
Yeah.
they have stone knives and all that. It was great. All kinds of gourd hanging up in there. We had medicine, natural medicine. We'd have it on a tripod, stick going across. It would have the names in our language on there.
Oh,
Whatever,
really?
yeah.
Nice.
Like caliber fruit, sweet flag, we have sassafras, all this stuff. Yarrow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't
They
realize
don't
that that was
understand it.
like the original
That was
doctor.
that was
You
the
didn't go to
doctor.
the doctor. You went to the
You
person that knew
you
the
had a
earth.
you had a medicine woman.
Yeah.
Usually the women would take a young girl that they had picked out in the tribe, and the family would give this young girl to this woman, and she'd trade in being a medicine woman.
Hmm.
That's what she would do. That's the whole thing she would do.
And heal all the
That's
aches and
right.
pains
Yes,
and
sir. Yep.
beating up from the hunts
That's it.
and
And we're using it now in capsule form from the doctor.
right, right. So tell me about your grandson and his dance. Did you start him off on that path? Or
Well,
his
no,
father?
the drum called him.
The drum call.
Now, I've got two granddaughters. My son has two daughters. My daughter has two sons. Well, both my granddaughters dance too.
Right.
India, she's 26 now. She's a MRI technician in the hospital. And Michaela, she's 16 right now. You know, 16 years old. They kind of,
In a different phase.
yeah, different phase, man. They got this thing going. But Little Bear, my grandson, he's 18 now.
Yeah.
He started at a very young age. He had a grass dancer that he really admired. Yeah, name is Daniel Greneau, Lakota. And he saw Daniel dance, and about 2 years old, he wanted to do that. And so we let him go. He was in a little bitty shirt my wife had made for him. So he went out there, and as he grew older, when he came about 4 years old, Daniel was dancing. And Little Bear was out there dancing. He had on his grass outfit. And I saw Daniel dancing, his grass dancing. Little Bear was out there, and he was right up under Daniel. Daniel danced right over him. And he grew up. And then about 5 years ago, he had this move that he did when they were dancing. When the drum would hit the 4 honor beats,
Right.
he would spin in honor of the 4 directions.
Whoa.
And he'd jump up here. He did it one day for his grandmother.
Yeah.
He told me, said, Papa, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that no more. But yeah, he's in his little brother, Little Wolf. He's traditional. He's 13. He's a good traditional dancer. Very good. But they're all sticking with the covers. Little Bear especially, he's hopefully going into the Coast Guard when he graduates in May. And the first thing he wanted to know was when he got out of training, could he keep his regalia with him? I said, you keep that with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
So they're making him a new regalia. A couple of 3 ladies are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
He honors his grandmother though.
So I just want to thank you for honoring this invitation. It's been an honor to me personally. I know you do it for the people and in service of the people and in service of that next generation, but I just got to tell you, it's like, thank you for what you do. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for your teachings. And you know, just personally, thank you for letting me do my tradition out here in the land of your folks.
Well, I thank you very much, and you know, you've been after me to do this for a while.
Yeah.
Nah, Jason, I ain't gonna do it. Well, you know, I'm accustomed to being in the public eye, but not on television.
Right. It's a funny thing, huh? I'm still not used to it.
Yeah, I know it, but it's been fantastic, especially over here in Chapel Hill, because the people over here in Chapel Hill, even the students that's coming in, they know about us. And we have a large contingency from Chapel Hill to come to our powwows.
Yeah.
Now, Vicky, my cousin, she's a tribal administrator. She works in one of the clinics here at Chapel Hill. And a lot of our people now that it's coming out.
Right.
You know, we got a lot of people around here. They're not as out as I am, wearing my shirts and trucks on the side of my pickup truck, you know, and doing programs. But the school kids are very well aware of us.
Yeah, the young people will
The
bring
young
it back.
people.
They will bring it back.
5 and 6 year old over at the farmers market in Hillsborough, the first week in December. They came over. I was supposed to do a presentation, but they taught me. They had some questions on them, man, that they had studied the Okanichi. And there's a lot out there, but we're bringing the pieces together. We're trying to write the book now. We're trying to do what the government took away from us.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to do.
So I just want the community out there to know, to look out for the Good Medicine Powwow locally here in Mebane, and then maybe through that learn about some more of the different events and gatherings we have. And if you're inspired to come out and serve, come out and help us.
And as our people would say, Nankaya, Yamuni, you watch it say, stand tall, sing and dance.
Good one.
All right.
All right.